Hello and welcome to Masquerade Breach. I'm Blazewing,
I'm Catherine Cosplays, otherwise known as Krisha.
I'm Marley.
And I'm Oceanus Veritas, also known as Cam.
and we're talking about Dracula the Dark Prince for Season 2, Episode 7. I have my unhinged notes, as always, because these are just things that I do now, apparently. No context, and then we get into discussion. Dracula? More like Dankula. Movie budget obviously wouldn't allow for an actual fight scene. That's a heartbeat. That is a heartbeat! Pulled directly from another project I'm working on at the moment. That armor is pretty horny. They're trying to find Leonardo. Is that the Renaissance one or the turtle one? Holy fuck, it's Shredder! I guess she was looking for the turtles. They did Renfield dirty! That's a lot of boobs. Shredder's helmet is totally unnecessary. Ooh, ancient relic of mystical power. Dracula, the tits and ass saga. Well, I think the chocolate kicked in. Notes from here on out are not guaranteed. Apparently, this is Dracula the Boob Chronicles. Wait, so can Descendants of Cain not turn? And that's all I got because I just forgot my notebook existed after that point.
I think that's when it started getting good.
So, let's talk about it. Dracula, the Dark Prince. When was this released? Does anybody know?
2013.
Okay. What are we thinking? Who wants to start?
All right.
Also, I
Oh, you go.
think I think it's a good one
Of course
because
you do.
I picked it
Of course you do.
because I and yeah, because it's like Lord of the Rings with some TMNT with some Dracula, and in this one, I completely judge Renfield, like judge all the way, judge Renfield. But also, like, it's funny how it hit on lore that that went sideways to what we are used to. The descendants of Cain and Abel, and talking about Seth, and like the whole thing was weird, but I loved it. But it's weird. But then there's like all the fight scenes that aren't fight scenes, and the love interest of multiple love interests, because everyone loves everyone, but they don't really, because they're not men in tights, but they are. And like, yeah, it's great, but terrifying. Yeah, at the same time, it's a Marley movie with lots of boobs, lots of them. And I kind of want Shredder's outfit because I feel like I understand the armor.
Who's next?
It's hard to top that. uh, so, my take on it, I guess. This movie, we went in under the impression that it was going to be cheesy. And it had cheesy moments. But it surprised me of how good the story is. The story is where it's at. Anything else is just cheese on the cake, I guess. The whole Shredder thing. Pretty sure we saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles medieval armor style. Um, uh, just a lot of titties. Just a lot of titties for some reason. Nothing more than just titties, though. So I mean, it is what it is. It has some interesting lore grabs, and the idea that it's biblical is kind of interesting. That it's actually Abel that's the vampire, not Cain, which is weird in its own way. And of course, then you have Renfield, who's, well, spoilers, is the BBEG.
Yep.
Weirdly enough. Weirdly
Yeah,
enough.
they did Renfield fucking dirty.
They did. First off, you're looking at you're looking at Dracula, and you're thinking this guy's a competent, rational person, right? Of course, he's gonna choose the right people to watch his love. And it says, and I'm like, oh, well, what happened to those people that were supposed to be guarding her? Oh, it kind of makes sense now that it was a political move. Weirdly enough, about that. And of course, then Renfield eventually shows his hand that it was him after stabbing his master. Master! You know, whatever. But it was. The story was good. The special effects leaves you wanting more, and the makeup and the costuming is it's on par with it's not leaving me wowed, and it's not leaving me this is the worst dumpster fire I've ever seen, if that makes sense.
All right. Next.
We can't hear you, babe.
You can't hear me.
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
you go. You were out for a sec.
Next.
Okay. Oh God. This movie. It hurts me. 'Cause the story, like, on paper, the story, great. I love the twist on some tropes. It's good. It got lost in translation. There are some moments that I was not a biggest fan of. Now, the
You gonna
costumes were so fucking bad.
you gonna explain about the moments that you weren't a fan of? You're just gonna leave us hanging.
Every time there was like forced proximity between the main girl and the Cain descendant who used the Lightbringer, every time they were like forced to be together, I was like, that could have been written more organically. They were just like forced to make out, and then all of a sudden they're in love. Also, we are in what, the 1800s? Why are they in leather sports bras and leggings, and the rest of everyone is in medieval garb? What time period are we in? Where are we? What is happening? Why does everyone have a British accent that sounds really bad? Except Dracula. Dracula has an American accent, except he's speaking can't remember the language.
Romanian.
He's Romanian. He's speaking it perfectly. So obviously the actor speaks Romanian. But literally it's just like, ha, like watching this movie, it hurt, because like I could tell like this was someone's passion project. Another moment was when Leonardo and Shredder were having their big fight scene. Whoever gave the stunt double that wig, they chose a stunt double who had no physicality similarity between him and Leonardo. So you could see like the old man running in with like the 60-pound backpack they gave him for some reason, like Samwise Gamgee. And then it's like, ha, 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 like, because his back is to the camera, and he's like fighting, and then like they cut back, and he's like, whoa, like, I'm. If this was placed in the hands of another director or placed in the hands of another producer, I feel like this could have been really, really good. But the costumes just took me out. The costumes were shit. You could they were all either bought from like H&M or Amazon, and literally like, oh, they're not even trying at this point. Oh god. And then the one vampire who had just had her tits out the entire time, like, don't get me wrong, I love tits out. However, if we're doing this film, there's a tasteful amount of tits out. A little too much titty, in my opinion, and I love titties.
I want to talk for a moment about the fact that they confirmed that she was Dracula's, one and only. Dracula actually did dirty in this movie. He was actually a victim in this movie, unfortunately. That's not the way they played it through most of the movie. He's this overarching monster. Turns out he's he's like a victim, and his current circumstances are a result of that. But she and the kind of forced, I guess, relationship between the descendant of Cain. Cain was like head over heels for her at one point, and then has a chance for her. Fucking takes his weapon, the Lightbringer, and just fucking walks off. Leaves her fucking there. Like, you were head over heels for her not too long ago. What the shit, dude? Out of everything I saw in that movie, that pissed me off the most, I think.
Oh, can I talk about the ending? And the ending being terrible?
Sure.
First of all, the ending was only like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, so I watched this for free off of YouTube, and I was like, oh, they're gonna cut it off. It's no way the ending can only be 7 minutes. And then it was so fast. First of all, when Dracula was, okay, Dracula being stabbed with the Lightbringer, with like the tip of the Lightbringer, and also his screech was just, ah! And then he fell. And they didn't even put a wound on his back.
Oh?
He fell to the ground. There was nothing.
Oh, it's because it was just the tip.
Literally. Like, they could have scythed him. Like, what the fuck? Oh, God. I'm just so, like... That was the, like, pansiest ending to this great Dracula movie. They set up, like, what the actual fuck? Leonardo had the best way out. He died by vampire snoo-snoo. Like, straight up. He got deathed by vampire snoo-snoo. Oh my god. I can't. It's so painful because I love Dracula in this movie. I love the Mina in this movie. I love them. I love those two actors together. They're great. Like, literally, the intimacy scene in this movie is my favorite intimacy scene in all of media because they did it and choreographed it so well. Everything else is just painful. Like, I'm like, oh, this hurts. Oh, this hurts. It hurt to watch.
It reads like a softcore porno that you scheduled a movie around, almost. But what I'm getting from this is that you have a lot of very strong feelings about this movie. I do think the story was like the redeeming quality for this movie. You are right. Like, the costumes were at best. It was like they were trying to go for something almost D&D-esque, and they didn't quite hit that mark. The story for me was definitely the redeeming quality, and it's the reason I actually owe Marley an apology for giving her shit about this movie. All right. So, with that, what was your most hated scene in this movie? We're going to start with Marley.
Okay. Listen, listen. This is. I have two. Okay. I have two. The first one is when they take the girls and they're like, they're gonna fight, right? And the girl's like, I'm gonna fight, right? And it doesn't even become a fight. It's just saying like, I'm just gonna mess with you and I'm in love with you. Oh my god, I'm in love with you. Nah. You're like, that's no, 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 that's not allowed. Like, huh. But the other one was actually when Dracula's on his throne and he's just sitting there and he's like mopey and he's being mopey. And then there's face. And he's just like, I don't feel like it. And there were boobs in the face. And he was like, no, thank you. No. Why on earth, if you have that many women with that many boobs just running around the castle, you clearly like women with boobs running around your castle. That you have a full like castle of half naked women just running around with boobs. But you're gonna be like, not today, Susan, I don't like your boobs. Clearly a boob guy. Clearly. Just saying. Anyway, my rant is over.
What was the other one? Because you said you had two.
That was the two.
Okay.
Two boobs.
Fight scene where the guy
Right.
didn't.
Right. Okay. Ocean.
Oh god. Anything to deal with the descendant of Cain. Any scene. Any fucking scene dealing with the descendant of Cain and the light bringer. My fucking god. If I could have seen that they had a chance to making a scythe super fucking badass.
Yeah.
That thing looked like it fucking snapped like a twig.
Not just that, it looked like they took a stick, put like a razor blade on it, and then put a pizza cutter on top of that.
But anything regarding the descendant of Cain, dude had so many forced scenes. You could tell that this was not choreographed. This was rushed.
Yeah.
So the falling in love kiss was it reminded me of a 007 Octopussy of no, yes, no, yes. That kind of acting throughout the entirety with this dude. This dude had no clue. He had no conviction in figuring out who the fuck killed his band of merry men. Because God knows that was ridiculous. And we all know it because it was like, men, I'm Robin Hood. Oh, it's like, oh God, they came from a musical, didn't they? And then, of course, the very, like after he, he was such a side character. It was ridiculous trying to play with main character energy and couldn't seem to have the figuring out of working it properly. And then, of course, the ending. The fucking ending of, well, he disappeared and nobody knows where he is. And nobody fucking cares. Thanks.
Nobody knows or cares. Nobody knows where he is. Good. Maybe he'll stay there.
I'm sorry, but it's just Really? This guy is supposed to be a main character? He doesn't act like it. It doesn't show it, and it definitely doesn't portray it.
Next.
Ugh.
Also, the ending. I love the fact that the sister just went with the Viking. Like, they just went off and did their own thing. I love that, though. My least favorite scene is when the Dracula and the Mina, Alina, her name is Alina, when she is in the fucking, like, Count Draculaura, like, Queen Elizabeth the First collar thing, and they're like walking around the castle in love, and like the 80s telenovela piano music is playing. It's just not good. Like, I get you're trying to do like a montage of them being in love or whatever, but oof. And then anything to do with the necklace. Anything having to fucking do with that necklace. Cause like that, oh god, it looked like the metal like beer cap or beer bottle top necklace from Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Yep.
Like literally that's all I could think of. And so that was my least favorite scene.
Doesn't remember anything about anything that's happened before. Puts the necklace on and suddenly, oh, I think I remember.
There was a reason why he was like, "You're possessed. You don't. These aren't your normal thoughts."
For me, my most hated scene is going to be the ending. Always. Like, I'm sorry that I've already gone over why that will forever irk me. Cat, give me 1 second. Stop picking at the chair.
How could you?
That thing was still purring.
Oh, hold on.
I wanted to love you.
Hold on.
Why would you?
Stop picking at the chair.
Stop! You.
And the cat's
Why?
still purring.
Why
like
are
he
you
didn't
so
give a
mean?
This cat's a masochist.
Yeah, it was purring the entire time, Krisha. Could you not hear it?
I'll get back on track in just a sec. To put this into perspective, we used to have a chair that, spun around freely in the living room. He would hop up in the chair. We would spin it around until he literally couldn't stand straight. He would fall out of the chair, wobble all over the living room. And then while we're standing there, he would turn around, hop right back up in the chair once his equilibrium stabilized, and look up at us like, what, you're done? Anyways, the ending of this movie will forever... It will... The ending of this movie will forever be my most hated scene. I can't get over the fact that... I'm sorry? He didn't even try. There was, like, zero fucking effort on his part. I get the whole scene in the bar and the explanation of no alcohol, but, I mean, you're out there fighting monsters. Gotta let loose and live a little. That being said, I do like the fact that they tried to incorporate multiple lores from multiple different places. From like all over the world. That was actually pretty cool. There's nothing really standing out as anything else that even comes close to that end scene for me.
What about all the skylight?
I mean, first of all, why would Dracula put in a skylight? But second of all, plot device. I get it.
The other thing about this movie that this just seems really bad, they were really pent up on trying to make the descendant of Cain the main protagonist, and it didn't hit.
Nope.
And everything about, like I said, everything about his acting, it did not surprise me that his character arc was flatlined the entire way. You can't tell me he learned anything.
All of my men were just killed. Okay, time to
I don't
continue on.
care.
Time to continue on as normal. There's nothing to be done about it. Wait, aren't you? Don't you want revenge on them? Not really.
Right?
Wait, I feel like the actor they got to play him like broke his ankle like a day before filming started. So they were like, we we gotta find somebody, and he was like a key grip or like a microphone guy, and he was like, I'll do it. I
I can
took
do it.
acting in college.
All right,
Look, I can do it. I look pretty, right?
shifting from that to your most loved scene of the movie. I know for some of you this is going to be real hard, but Marley.
Anything with John Voight because it cracked me up the entire time. Every single scene with him, you just expect him to be hitting people over the head with the light bringer, just like you're dumb. Like that's how you felt every scene with him. Like he is the rent a cop of Merlin's, and you can't help yourself. It's just every one of them. You're not sure what to do with this man, but it's funny.
Next.
Okay, so this was not a complete wash when it comes to a movie. So there are a couple of scenes that do stand out. Obviously, I think the ones that are the true authentic actors that I saw throughout that was absolutely Leonard uh, Van Helsing, Leonard Van Helsing, absolutely brilliant actor. He really pulled through and kind of kept the was kind of the glue to the whole movie itself, in my opinion. And so how he went out was kind of the most badass way ever. But considering that, he's like, oh, we've got this, the idea behind it was brilliant. The love scene with Alina and Dracula, and the connection and the story arc or the character arc of how Dracula was this benevolent ruler, then became, because of the death of his wife, became this darker entity, and then eventually it shows a redeeming quality coming back near the end. I think that was a brilliant take to this character Dracula that a lot of people see as the main villain. I think that is in of itself the redeeming qualities this movie has, and the connection between Alina and Dracula was far more organic than it ever was with the Descendant of Cain, in my opinion. Um, it it was far more receptive
Mm-hmm.
and convincing in a lot of ways that you don't normally see, and it gave a different twist on an old adage. I think that's the other thing. It gave something that you don't normally see with this, that the villain is not necessarily a villain, but is not born a villain, but is made to be the villain. I think that he's trying to do what he thinks is right. They're doing what they think is right, but some of it's due to power. We want the power, and then of course the others are like, no, that kind of thing. I think the movie itself, if it had the budget, if it had the time, could have been a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. What was the budget on this movie?
Uh, Shoot, let me check.
Yeah, I'll let you guys figure that one out.
It was oh wow. So it was 100,000 pounds. Oh, that. Oh wait, hold on. That's not right. That's not right. Come on, 2013.
There is no way.
Hold on.
Marley, do you actually know the answer to this?
There's no.
And
Okay,
you're just
so
sitting there waiting
No.
for us to find it out?
it's Dracula, Prince of Darkness, right?
Yes. Sorry. Go ahead,
Okay.
Marley. Do you
I'm
actually...
letting you do it. There's already research happening. Let the research happen.
Yeah,
I'm here for the fun.
yeah, but I'm just asking, do you know what it is?
I know I looked it up before, and I do
Okay.
have it somewhere around here.
Okay.
It's in my notebook.
I just asking.
The notebook I Yeah, every time we do a movie, I put the information in my notebook. So like all the cool stuff about the movies. Because somehow I think it's gonna turn into a trivia night and then it like never does.
Okay. I mean, that is absolutely fair. I was just asking. Sorry, go ahead,
But
Ocean.
in
So,
the
so I'm trying to find it. The one that one is talking about is the 1966 version. I'm trying to find the remake. Let's see here. Uh, remake
Let's see. Did you...
budget.
1 second.
It keeps trying to send me to the 1966 version, which was 100,000, but that's not right. Oh, that's why I messed up.
Let's take a look. Financial information.
Okay, so here, let's give me the
That
wrong one.
that just tells me what it brought in. That doesn't tell me what it actually what the budget actually was. Let's try Wikipedia.
We're trying to figure it out.
It's 100 minutes long. Yes, we know this. Is that information not available? It's got to be
Is
somewhere.
it not available?
number because I have it. I just don't know where my notebook is.
This is okay. Let's see here. I'm looking at Rotten Tomato right now.
I don't see it anywhere.
There is a 33% popcorn meter on it with zero. There's no tomato meter on it. None.
Well, if anybody would like to know, it made, from what it looks like, 1.8 million domestic DVD sales, 1.8 million domestic video sales. I can't find stats on what it did if it was released anywhere else.
It is so bad.
All right. Sorry.
You can't even find the budget on this thing.
So, who's next for most loved scene?
It's me.
Okay.
It's the intimacy scene.
Okay.
It is my favorite intimacy scene out of any media I have ever seen.
Really?
Like, literally, this one is my favorite. And it, like, we've talked about sex a lot on this show, but just like there is
vampires and sex in
No.
the same place? In the same place? What?
there is so and like there is such a connection between the Dracula character and the Alina like the actor and the actress. Like, this was done with such beautiful purpose. It was so well choreographed, and like it definitely appears as two people who are like in love with each other, like having that intimacy, having that bond. And like, and then also, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. In the one thing for me that makes a sex scene is when the this happens.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
In that is such like that is so special to me. Like in all of the intimacy scenes I've ever put like or like suggestive on TikTok, because obviously I'm not going to do that because that's gross, and also nudity and I'll get banned. Um that's always there. Nobody's ever noticed, but it's always there. But it is just so loving and just giving and caring, and I just like I love it. And then we snap back to reality of like what? Like this like literally it is like Disney Channel quality cinematography, the most breathtaking beautiful sex scene ever. Then we're back to it and I'm just like, "What?
That was it.
Make it make sense!"
For me, even though it was a sad moment, I have to say my favorite scene of this movie was Dracula's death. It was so full of emotion. You could tell, like, he didn't want to go. He knew what was coming. He didn't want to go. And she was like, "We can fix this." And he was like, "No, we can't. It's over." And then I can't remember who it was. Renfield got shanked and I cheered.
There, although the funnier part about that is that they really tried to backpedal on that too. At the end, do you remember they put him in the coffin and they like, well, we don't know if he's dead. We don't know. We don't.
You know what? Just for that, it may not have been a successful movie, but just for that, make me a fucking sequel.
Yeah.
Make it just as, like, terrible as the first movie. If you're gonna do
This
that,
is
be fucking
cheesy.
consistent. But
Wait. He falls in love with a third doppelganger in modern times. That's
oh,
the sequel.
wait, we're talking about the third movie in Dracula the Dark Prince series, which also happens to be a sequel for Dracula Untold.
That somehow has them going back in time because
Aliens.
I could just see it. Dracula, 50,070 AD, and everything's all like alien and whatnot, and pretty much he's all like augmented with like just bunch of neon lights and everything. He goes, I've traveled oceans of time for you.
I like the and then the fifth doppelganger is in space. The fifth doppelganger is the alien.
Majestically,
Man, just
majestically, me says, "Hear me out, mech suits."
juxtaposition.
Dracula again?
What?
What'd
Are
you
we
say?
seeing a Hellraiser in space movie, but it's Dracula again? It's just all the world he brings with him, terrorizing humans.
No, Dracula in mech suits. It's Mechula.
It's Mecula. All you see is people running around in mech suits, and all you see is one of them opens up its maw, has a bunch of fangs, and just.
Everything he bites turns into a mech. When that gets made, I'm blaming you. Go ahead. I will fully take credit for that.
Wait, did we do Dracula Untold?
No.
Not yet.
Add it to the motherfucking list. I love that movie.
So do I.
I put it there. I put it in there. It's in there.
Oh my god.
Also, Hotel Transylvania 2 and Hotel Transylvania 3.
Okay,
Might as well at this point.
so let's take a moment. Let's go ahead. Let's do our ratings. Marley.
Okay, so I'm gonna say mine is mostly on the movie's ability to make me laugh, because it added lore that I had never heard of before. I don't know that I could judge on that. It kind of made up its own thing. Um, and recommendability. I made you watch it. That counts. So I'm gonna give it, give it a 3. It really was like watching a mix of a Dracula movie that was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that was also a Lord of the Rings movie.
Shudder!
And somehow Odin showed up with a staff and people were beating each other around. So, 3.
Okay. Ocean?
Oh. There's only so much that a story can pull. There's only so much that a story can pull. It's a 2.5 for obvious reasons.
You look so disgusted with yourself.
I can't believe I'm giving it such a high rating. But honestly, like I said, we've went over all the good parts of the thing. We went over all the good parts. Those were the only good parts. There wasn't anything else. Anything else was trash and probably needed to hit a dumpster fire. And whoever thought of this going, I must have been on drugs when making this movie.
Krisha.
Y'all about to be real mad at me.
What you giving it?
I'm giving it a 0.5.
Yes. Honesty, transparency, we love it.
And that 0.5 is the sex scene.
I'm not gonna lie. You watched the movie separate from us. I would have loved to have been there for your in the moment reactions to this movie.
I was sitting on my couch crocheting on Monday morning and literally just oh god, the whole time, and then ooh at the sex scene, and then just for the rest of it.
I'm just wondering, how tempted were you to just be like, turn it off, this is trash?
I give it a 1.0.
No. A 1.0.
Yep. No, you know what? I'll give it a 1.1.
Okay.
Is that 0.1 because Marley chose it?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Sure, why not? It was again, like I said, it was a good story. I wish that everything else backed it.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a proposal
Yeah?
for doing a special at the end of the season
What's that?
where instead of we dress up as our favorite character from the season, and we go over all of the movies we watched and rank them. And if we want to, we add them to the rank of season 1, which might prove difficult, but I think that would actually be a really cool thing to do as a wrap up.
Sure, we can look at adding that to the end of the season list.
Now there is one other thing before we get finished with this one. Would you recommend this movie to anybody?
Krisha.
I don't even recommend it to myself. I'm so sorry. I love you, Marley, so much, but this is not a good movie. It was not good. Oh God, my cheeks are cramping from cringing. I need an ibuprofen. Anybody have an ibuprofen? I have a headache.
Listen, we all know now when Marley picks a movie,
Okay. But here's the thing. All of your picks thus far have been good movies. They're campy as shit and they're hilarious, but they've all been good. This one was the first one where I was just like, babe, what, babe? This isn't a good one.
Do you remember the 18 hours that was Fright Night?
That was a great movie. I fucking love Fright Night. Prince Humperdinck being sexy as shit. That was awesome. I fucking loved Fright Night. That was great. Do not besmirch the name of Fright Night in this episode. I swear to God, that Fright Night was great.
A gallon of piss.
Welcome to our just one meme we've got here now, courtesy of Krisha.
Listen, just every single episode, I gotta have one thing that I scream into the microphone.
Full rant.
Marley,
I think I already. Marley, I think I know the answer, but would you recommend this movie?
Listen. So I have this little thing that sometimes happens where I like to make people watch bad movies and then hang out. But now I know if I put this one out, enough people will have seen this episode to know not to trust me with it.
Apparently, Teresa is setting the days since Krisha goes unhinged counter back to 0.
I should probably answer my own question. Unless you want to go first.
I think you need a moment to catch your breath. Please don't, die.
People. But we also know what kind of movies I like.
Why do we even have that counter? Because Teresa has it. Would I recommend this movie?
Yes, please. Would you recommend this movie?
Marley, my dear, I love you with all of my heart, every fiber of my being. But fuck no!
You just wait. The second that I pick a movie that's outside of vampire.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
that's outside of what?
That's outside of vampire. We're watching Into Manwich.
Okay.
It's a movie where an astronaut goes to space and he's eating leftover manwich that his wife packed him because it's space. And he gets hit with radiation and it turns him into manwich and he crashes back to Earth. And it's like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but it's manwich. And he just rolls around eating people. But at one point, he only eats half of someone. And it's literally the actor and then skeleton legs for the rest of the film. And people are carrying him around. And he just has these dangly skeleton legs with little feet. It's the whole actor, and the big dangler. It's legs. No, he's not even wearing pants. It's just skeleton legs. And he's like a top scientist that's helping to up which that's eating everyone, but he's skeleton legs. You should totally let me pick movies. I know it.
All right, so
They certainly give the most interesting episodes.
They do. So I suppose I should answer my own question. Would I recommend this movie? And the answer is yes, as a torture method to Guantanamo Bay. I'm sure they'll love it. There's boobs, there's torture, there's vampires, and I'm sure they're gonna love the acting.
I mean,
Their favorite.
they could just use that castle set as. Nope, we're not going there.
Don't go there. That was a little far. There's a line. But honestly, I think it's a good camping movie for those who don't know what a vampire is.
You know what?
Or Dracula.
If you watch this movie at any point in your foray into vampire media, please let it be one of the first.
Just FYI, this is a Netflix and chill. Emphasis on the chill, not so much on the Netflix when watching this movie.
You okay, Marley?
Okay. If you watch it backwards, you might get your brain cells back.
Are you okay, Marley, now that we've just completely and utterly eviscerated this movie?
We love you!
Listen. At least there's boobs.
I think that was the only redeeming quality. Oh, shit.
Why do you think I gave it the 1 instead of the 0.5?
There we go.
Are we hammered when you watch it? Or I can think of a few other things, too.
Oh, definitely do it on shrooms. No, I do not mention shrooms. It's definitely portobello shrooms. I promise.
Oh, my God.
I almost forgot
Okay.
we're on TikTok.
Well, on this note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Masquerade Breach. This was our impressions of Dracula the Dark Prince, the movie, what we thought of it, and all its glory.
Why question all of these movie choices from here on?
If you would like to know what we're watching for next week, or our next episode, we're going to be watching Daybreakers, which is a really interesting take on the vampire mythos. Normally you have vampires which live in secret and attempt to survive. In this movie, your vampires are mainstream and run the planet. The humans are the one that have to live in secrecy. So it takes that narrative and flips it on its head. For this episode of Masquerade Breach, it's called Daybreakers. For this episode of Masquerade Breach, I'm Blazewing.
I'm Catherine Cosplays, otherwise known as Krisha.
I'm Marley, Mr. Meatloaf.
And I'm Oceanus Veritas, also known as Cam.
And remember, don't tell the Camarilla. They might interrupt our plan to put boobs in movies, so we can actually stand some of these.
They might scythe us correctly.